Hello, everyone, and welcome to ActorsE. That's Actors Entertainment. It's a beautiful day here in Hollywood, California, about 60 degrees, December 23rd, 2013, and we say that because we're seen all over the planet today and ongoing. My name is Steve Nave, as I said, and I am very excited. I have, one of my idols, and I'm sure it's one of his idols too. He is a movie star, a director, a producer, a writer, a football player, a martial arts expert, an architect, a great golfer, a cigar smoker, and that's just for the first week. But anyway, one of my favorite people, I've been watching him on TV and in the movies for years and years, and his name is Fred the Hammer Williamson, right here, ladies and gentlemen. Fred, thanks for coming.
What's up, dog? What's up?
I got to just sit next to you so I can get a little cooler, man.
I understand how you feel.
Fred, we're all very excited to have you, as you are every day when you wake up and look in the mirror. But we're very happy to have you. We've been watching you. I've been watching you. I've been a big fan. First, I saw you playing pro football with Pittsburgh. I remember you more with Kansas City.
49ers, Oakland Raiders. Playing under Al Davis, Hank Stram. At Northwestern, I played football under Eric Parsegian. So my lineup of coaches has been really great. With Parsegian from Stram and Al Davis. Al Davis was a football genius, man.
Did you learn about life from them, or just football? Or?
Well, you always learn about life when you play sports. You learn that you could be down, the score could be 22-0, and you could still win 23-22 if you have faith in yourself, have faith in your ability, and the people that you play with. If they do the job and you do your job, you can make a comeback and still win.
So, did you grow up wanting to be a football player? Is that how the whole Fred Williamson, the Hammer, got started?
No, I never wanted to play football. You might get hurt, might get my face hurt. So, I didn't want to play football, man.
You didn't do any of that?
No, it didn't happen, man. I started playing football only my senior year because.
Look at that! Jeez, who is that guy?
That is the beginning of the Hammer.
Oakland Raiders, Al Davis.
Al Davis, but I started playing football only because girls like football players. And I was never football. I was a track star. At high school, and I went to Northwestern on a track scholarship.
Really?
Yeah, so I was 185 pounds, and I was running a 100-yard dash, the 200-meter, and the 440, and Eric Parsegian and I came at the same time. Now, Northwestern hadn't won a game in 27 years. So he comes out on the football field, on the track one day, and he's watching me, and he says, "You ever play football before?" I said, "Well, I played, but I didn't really play." And he says, "Well, why don't you play for us?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I'll think about it." He says, "Come over here and let's talk, and we'll change your scholarship and sweeten the kitty for you." And they did. He sweetened the kitty, and I played and made All-American every year that I played, and then I got drafted by the 49ers. I was number 2 draft choice of the 49ers. Here's something that's amazing, and most people don't understand. My signing bonus was $1,900.
$1,900.
And my starting salary was $9,005.
Wow.
White Tittle was a quarterback at that time, and he was making 10. So I was
Wow.
close. I was close to the upper echelon. So then I got traded from.
You still have all that money? Oh, did you put it away?
I framed the first dollar. I framed it because I had everybody on the team sign it, so I framed the first dollar. So then I went to Pittsburgh. I got traded to Pittsburgh. And then after Pittsburgh, I came back to Oakland, California. And while I was there, Al Davis says, "Why don't you come over here and play for us, son? We need somebody with your energy and with your personality to help build up the American Football League." And I said, "Well, I'll think about it."
Yeah, you guys were all separate back then.
Yeah. So he says, "We'll give you $500 raise." $500 raise?
Wow.
Dude, I ran across the Bay Bridge, man. I didn't even start my car. Now I'm making $10,000. Now I'm doing good now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, with all the injuries, and did you guys have to work off season and stuff too? Or was that enough to sustain?
Well, when you're only making $10,000, yeah. My off-season job was an architect because I graduated from Northwestern as an architectural engineer. So I worked for Bechtel Steel during the off-season when I wasn't playing pro football. So I had another career. So when I stopped playing football and decided to go full-time as an architect, I couldn't make the transition because now I had a job, a 9 to 5. My time is now going to be regulated. I couldn't do that. I couldn't make the transition. One night I'm watching television and I saw a show called Julia.
Ah,
Diane Carroll.
the lovely Diane
She
Carroll.
was the first black actress to have her own TV show.
That's right.
And I noticed that each week was a new boyfriend. The guest star role was a new boyfriend. And I said to myself, I'm better looking than those guys. I'm going to Hollywood and become
And humble.
and become. Forget about that. I mean, that's just it's a character thing, dude. I'm going to become a boyfriend.
That's right.
That's what I did. I says, okay. So I go to Hollywood, and 3 days later, I'm signed to a 3-year contract to play Diane Carroll's boyfriend on the Julia show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you guys connect right away as people or as actors?
Always connect with good-looking women. What are you talking about?
Listen, I know you from way, way back because we met. Well, you probably don't even remember it, but the Sports Page was a club out here.
Of course I remember. I can't even forget it.
The candy store. The candy store.
Candy store.
And Daisy. I mean, this guy was around town, hanging out with the guys, but more importantly, the beautiful
But it
women.
was Jim and I.
Jim Brown.
Jim
Yeah.
Brown and I sort of controlled. You know, we had seats at the exit where the women's bathroom was. We sit
at
back
the
in the
candy
back.
store,
Yeah, we
right?
sit way back in
Yeah.
the back. Every time you had to go to the bathroom, we'd greet them and say hi.
Yeah.
And we'd help them come out, and that's how
Well,
we.
yeah. Well, you were a gentleman. You wanted to make sure
exactly.
they were okay.
That's how we met them.
And then you also would judge the beauty contests. I remember you doing that.
We had a lot of contests,
Yeah.
and we even had golf tournaments in Palm Springs with beauty contests, and that's really how I discovered Palm Springs, which is where I live now, but that's how I first discovered it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got into the acting thing, and was it, one of the first things I ever saw you in was, besides Julia, and I remember you in that, was MASH, the movie, and you were Spear Chucker
Jones. But if
yeah.
you're the Hammer, you could be Spear Chucker Jones. But I happened to be walking in the commissary where we were shooting Julia. It was 20th Century Fox, and the guy walks up to me and he says, "You're the Hammer, right?" I said, "Yes, I'm doing football. I'm doing a movie, got a football scene in it, and I don't know anything about football. Would you put it all together and put the football players together and do that for me?" And that was Robert Altman, and the movie was MASH. But after that, I said, everybody wants me to do comedy. They want me to be a black comic, and that's not my thing. That's not what I wanted to do. So I had to call a press conference right after that, and I called a press conference, and I said, "I'm coming into the industry as an actor with the same image that I had in pro football. I have 3 rules. 1, you can't kill me in a movie. 2, I have to win all my fights in the movie. And 3, I get the girl at the end of the movie if I want her. Now you got to satisfy 2 out of 3 of those, or I ain't coming. I don't really care how much money you want to pay me, because that's not what I sell. What I have to sell is my integrity and what I believe in, and I believe in the characters, and I believe in what I represent to the black community and to the black audiences. And we have enough black comics.
Right.
We don't have too many hammers out there.
No.
So I'm trying to sustain it. It's hard because I turned down a lot of work. It's hard sustaining, keeping that image up, because it's just not happening in America that way. I work in Europe all the time.
Yeah.
90% of my work is in Europe, in Spain, in Germany, in Italy, is where I work a lot, because they understand who I am.
They appreciate you, and they know
for what I am. And
yeah.
they're not trying to change me.
Well, I just was lucky I had you play an attorney, a lawyer, in a film not too long ago, about a year ago, which actually was very well received. There's MASH. There's Donald Sutherland and other.
Spear Chucker Jones is
Mr.
giving out some information about how to play this game, and
You were the ringer in the film.
I'm always a ringer, dude.
Yeah, you were like
I'm the
wearing a
guy-
hood or something.
I sit on the bench, and they went in and they doubled the bet.
Yeah,
And then they put me in.
That's right.
And then I ran a couple of touchdowns. Then
Yeah.
I showed them how they could win the game.
Yeah.
That was a good experience, man. It was a lot of fun. Elliot Gould, Stuart Whitman, not Stuart Whitman.
No,
Donald Sutherland, Elliot Gould.
Elliot
A lot of
Gould.
good people.
Yeah.
Sally Kellerman.
Sally Cohen. Well, she had the famous
Yes.
tent scene where
The nude scene, yes.
Yes. I was
Yes.
trying to be a gentleman.
Joanna Flug. I mean, it was really a lot of. It was a really
That
lot
was
of
a
fun.
big movie.
It was.
really
It
big.
was.
Why weren't you in The Longest Yard? I was thinking about this yesterday. Maybe you were just too impressive or imposing or something?
If I told you the story about The Longest Yard, we'd both go to jail.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, tell me later then. If you can tell me off camera.
It was a story that I brought to Al Ruddy at the same time, because from the movie MASH, I got to meet Otto Preminger, because Ingo was producing it. He took me over to Otto to meet him, because Otto was looking for somebody to play a Italian beach guy, and he couldn't find what he wanted. So Ingo took me over to meet him, and I got a role with Liza Minnelli called "Tell Me You Love Me, Junie Moon."
That's right.
So now I'm going to meetings with Ingo at Paramount, and across the hall is Al Ruddy. So he sees me and he says, "What are you doing?" I says, "I'm doing this movie." "Oh, you're the Hammer, right? Come on in." From that conversation came The Longest Yard, and from all the work that I did and setting it up and helping him put it together, I tell you, if I tell you the rest of it, we'd go to jail.
Wow, wow. I had no idea about this.
Nobody does. Why should
Wow.
they? I mean,
Yes.
I was naive. I'm just out of football. I didn't know that people take your ideas and run with them. I didn't know that. I was naive about
Wow, wow. I guess you've learned. You've done, what, 90 movies and 20-some TV
that.
series?
No,
and
I've sort of scared the hell out of people so they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what it takes. It takes a little respect for them not to try to screw you over.
Well, you got the nickname the Hammer because you would, when you hit somebody on the football field, because you were originally offensive, then you went defensive, right?
I got the nickname Hammer because I didn't want to get my uniform dirty, you know? And when you tackle
make the-
people, you got to go down, right?
Yeah.
So they asked me how to describe the hammer. It's a blow struck perpendicular to the Earth's latitude, which is thusly.
Oh, sort of
So
like a clothesline?
It was a hook. It was like running through somebody's backyard late at night, running into a clothesline. Your head stopped, but your feet keep moving. That was the hammer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, could you get away with that today?
If I played today, as soon as I walked on the field, they'd fine me $50,000 for walking on the field and then kick me off.
But what do you think about football, the way they're playing? I mean, you know, there's all these injuries, and I know you've been concerned about some of the guys that played in the past, and, you know, I mean, people are still getting hurt all the time. It's a rough game. But
Well, no, the game is not that rough. I mean, if you look at the amount of injuries that have started over the past few years, it started with the artificial turf. Because the artificial turf is nothing but artificial grass played over concrete. So the concussions start to happen when guys get tackled and their head hits the ground. That's really where the major concussions come from. Nobody ever mentions that it's this artificial turf because the owners don't want to talk about that because they don't want real grass because it costs money to keep the grass up. It costs no maintenance to keep this artificial turf up. So the owners don't talk about that, and the NFL commissions don't talk about. It's part of the injury that's happening is that field, man. It's not the way the guys are playing. They don't hit any harder now than they did years ago.
well, they used to slap upside the head.
But that don't cause concussion. That just it makes your helmet ring for about 15 minutes inside the helmet. You know, especially if you got a ring on. You had a ring, you slap the helmet, it rings for like it vibrates for about 15 minutes inside your head.
What's his name? Deacon Jones and all those guys.
Deacon Jones was a
man.
master. Deacon Jones was a master at it. He
Yeah.
created that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he didn't get credit for sacks because they didn't have that.
They didn't count everything, but you know they count now. You see these guys doing all these stupid things when these stupid signs and contusions that they do if they make a tackle and they do all the
Yeah.
That's because they want the spotter up there to see them so they can put it down and get that mark. So that's why they do all that, so they could be seen by the spotters and make sure that they get full credit for what just happened. Now I want them to do the same thing. If you get beat by a bomb, you get a bomb dropped on you, I want you to do the same dance. You know?
Well, I'm always wondering when a team's down 30-0 and a guy scores a touchdown and he starts doing, like he's on Soul Train or something. It's like,
dumb. It's
what
dumb.
the hell's going on
It's
here?
dumb, man. It's just no control of the players anymore. It's all about money. The game is about money. Money has changed the game. Money has changed the attitude of the players. Back in the day, we had camaraderie. The guys went out together. We'd go into a town. We'd meet. We'd have a party, and then we'd beat the hell out of each other on Sunday. They don't do that now. The guys don't travel together. They don't run together.
You're watching ActorsE. I'm your host, and we'll be right back with the legend, Fred the Hammer Williamson. See you in a minute.
Why do clients like these and these choose And Now Media? When they've got a message, an audience that they want to reach, why do they dive into our world? They do it because they want mind-bendingly breakthrough creative. They want it to focus. They want results beyond their expectations. And now, you've got a boutique creative house that's at your disposal. A passionate, professional team concocting, executing videos that connect your message to your audience like never before. And now dive into our world. Creativity with purpose. See how far your message can go. And now, it's your turn. And Now Media, creating success one video at a time.
You're back. We're watching ActorsE. I'm your host, Steve Nave. And be sure to link in on Actors Reporter, our sister act, and get all those great discounts, all those Actors Entertainment discounts for acting classes with Nina Fosh and books and all that good stuff. And I'm here with the legend, Fred the Hammer Williamson, and we're talking about his life as a athlete, as an actor, as a producer, as a cigar man, and everything else. I mean, we could do 3 hours right now without even trying. So here we are back with Mr. Williamson. So we were talking about banging upside the head on football for the moment and the injuries that football players are getting.
Yeah, but the
days.
injuries, you know, are because of attitude. Guys don't really prepare themselves now like they did back in the day. You know, I mean,
Mentally or physically or what?
both,
Uh-huh.
both. Because it's about money now. If a guy feels that if he makes this tackle, he might get hurt. So once you get into that decision-making process, you set yourself up for injuries. The fact that now they're giving all these targets where you can hit a guy, where you can't hit a guy, that's creating more injuries on the defensive guy, because now you got to make a decision. If the way that I want to tackle this guy is going to be a 15-yard penalty, is it going to be, am I going to get ejected because I tackle this way? You can't make those decisions. You can't have that process in your mind when you're going after a guy to take him out. You can't do that, and it makes you more vulnerable than the runner.
What did, going from football into the entertainment industry, did you see any similarities, or was this a complete shock? Or, I mean, you always had personality, and you were like Muhammad Ali. You
Yeah.
self-promoted all the time. And
It was a flat-out shock to me, man, to see the attitude of hotshot actors and actresses, the things that they do and get away. It reminded me of spoiled children. Being an athlete, and you come into some place and you got to be there at 9 o'clock. You come at 10 minutes to 9. You don't come at 9:15 and have everybody bow down to you and apologize to you for you being late. I mean, when I first started doing the Julia show, there were some things happening, man, I just could not believe. They were asking me to, do a scene, and I knew the page number. I knew everything. I knew your lines, my line, the page number. People come in and don't know their lines, and they're making all this money. They're like spoiled kids. That's the first thing I saw when I came into Hollywood. So I really had to make an adjustment to not be hostile when I came into the industry.
there you are in Black Caesar. That was a little bit after Julia.
Well, Black Caesar was an image that I wanted to create for the public, because it was like my interpretation of Edward G. Robinson. You're a good guy or a bad
Look
guy.
at that, man.
It's an interpretation. Are you a good guy or you're a bad guy? You help the little ladies across the street. You protect the neighborhood, but you're still a gangster. That's the way they used to make movies in the 50s. We loved Cagney, Bogart. We loved George Raft. They were bad guys, but we loved them.
Right.
And when they got caught and went to jail, we felt sorry for
We were
them.
still rooting for him.
Exactly.
When
So-
Cagney was going to the chair,
Exactly.
you were like, go, please.
Exactly. That's why I tried to create this character, give it that same kind of image that people would enjoy him and understand that there's a good guy and there's a bad guy. Am I a bad good guy or a good bad guy?
Yeah.
You have to make that decision.
Now, you were in the era, there was a few of you guys were real stars in the black exploitation era in the 70s. You and Jim Brown and Superfly
Right.
and Shaft and
Right.
Richard Roundtree. And that just kind of exploded. I mean,
Well, first of all, it was a fallacy anyway. The only reason it emerged was because Hollywood had made a lot of bad decisions and they needed money at the time. Hollywood had a lot of big films that had gone bad. And so all of a sudden they found out that there was a black audience out there that liked to see black stars starring in movies, and they didn't have to spend a lot of money making them. However, I never fit into that black exploitation genre, because my movies were never retribution movies. My movies were not about get whitey. I killed black people, yellow people, pink people.
you didn't care who you
I
killed.
didn't care anybody. So I didn't fit into that genre. That's why I'm still around. That's why I still have longevity, because I didn't fit into that genre, because I never really understood what it meant. Who's being exploited? Black exploitation, who's being exploited? Audiences are getting to see blacks win the fight. When the smoke clears, it's the blacks that's standing up. The actors are not being exploited because they're working, they're being paid. So who the hell is being exploited? I never really understood the terminology, but they brought it on us, and so we had to live through it. It lasted 5 years.
Yeah. Well, you were a star, though, before a lot of black or African-American actors really had a chance, and you just kind of shot your way right to the top.
Well, I never left the set. I learned the business of the business. That's what longevity is about, learning the business of the business. I learned how to direct. I watched everything. I annoyed the hell out of the crew. Like, what do you call that thing? And what is that? And what's a 5K? And what's a 3K? And where do you put that? And why do you do that? So I learned everything about filmmaking. I never sit in my trailer and had caviar and salads and all of that stuff and entertained the
You just ate
ladies.
it right there on the set. You didn't go to your...
No, I rubbed it on my face. So I learned.
Yeah.
I never left the set. I wanted to know about the business of the business because I knew sooner or later it was going to end. And when it ends, you have to pick it up yourself. You can't count on somebody else to do it for you. You have to pick it up and do it yourself.
Where did this drive come from? Did it come from your family, or did you have idols that you wanted to be like, or?
Being black has been a wonderful experience for me. It automatically gave me motivation to be better than anybody that I had to compete with. Being black gave you this energy. It gave you this fire inside you to prove yourself. And it's been a wonderful experience being a brother. Yeah.
Did anybody influence you? Any athletes or anybody that you...
The Mirror.
And you don't do comedy, right?
Do I look like I'm laughing?
No, you don't. And I'm going to be real nice to you. Oh, look at what do we got here. We got that man
Man
Bolt. Yeah.
That Man Bolt was before Shaft. Universal Studios offered me a contract. And they said, we want to do a film with you. This was their attempt to make the first
There you are, looking good.
black James Bond.
Who was the other actor, by the way? Do you know?
Some white guy, I don't know. So it was, I was the first black James Bond. And we made the film in Hong Kong, in Japan, and Los Angeles. The film was a tremendous success. And then when we came back and we started talking, it was a 3-picture deal. We started talking about number 2, and they said, we don't want to be the first studio to really jump into the black market and the black audiences. We're just going to wait it out and see what happens. Next year, Shaft came out, and Shaft was a big hit. Then they called me back, and they said, okay, we're ready now. I says, I don't need you now. I got my own company. I formed my own company. I didn't need you. But they had previously
Did
paid
they
me
offer
out.
you Shaft by any chance?
No.
Because I know, wasn't it Cosby had been offered or something, and then he recommended Richard Roundtree?
Every black actor wanted to be Shaft because it was the first project that was going to be a meaningful one, to show character, strength, not funny, not comedy. Hollywood's concept of blackness is comedy, and it's not mine. And everybody wanted this new image, but they had already chosen it. They just didn't tell us because Roundtree was from New York, and Gordon Parks was from New York, so they had already established a
You worked
relationship.
with Gordon Parks too, didn't you? Didn't
Gordon
you
Parks
guys
Jr. We did.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Did Three the Hard Way. Me and Jim Brown,
Right.
and Jim Kelly did Three the Hard Way. That was Gordon Parks Jr. So they had already predetermined that it was going to be Roundtree, and we just kind of went through the motions of reading for the part.
Now, you mentioned Jim Brown. Well, there's Shaft, John Shaft.
Yeah, Roundtree.
Shut your mouth. That's in the song, by the way, in case people don't know. But you and Jim Brown, I mean, you guys seem to be linked. I mean, were great football players. You're both very successful actors, and you both did Playgirl. In fact, you did Playgirl magazine before him. How did that come about, by the way?
Well, Burt Reynolds did the first Playgirl. No, he did a centerfold for Cosmopolitan.
Right.
And the skinny white butt was laying on this on this carpet.
Right.
And Playgirl says, "We got something bigger and better than that." And they brought out the
You
hammer.
used a sombrero.
They
Why
brought
didn't
out
he
the-
use
no,
a visco?
I use a little white pussycat.
Oh, that's right. That's
my stuff,
right. Yeah.
My stuff didn't show.
I hate to say I actually saw that. Not that I was dwelling on it. But
That's how it came about. They said,
Yeah.
we got something bigger and better than that. little skinny Burt
As
Reynolds.
an, physically a much bigger guy.
Well,
is what you're trying to get to. Yeah.
little narrow butt hanging down there. So
Yeah.
we said, okay, we got some. That's how I got into it.
So Jim wanted to be like you, and Jim Brown.
He was the next. Jim was. We were the only two black actors that they really put into the magazine. It was Jim and I.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, look at the little kitty cat.
See the little kitty cat.
I
Yes.
remember another version of that, though. I think
I
you were
did
on
a side. I did a side view doing
yeah.
a martial art, a kick, but I had enough pride not to show my stuff.
Well, I hope so.
Everybody else did, though.
Well,
Jim did.
oh, Jim, that's right.
Yeah, Jim did.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we'll have to talk to him about that. But you mentioned martial arts. Now, you're a black belt in a couple of...
Well, I got into martial arts because it was a good way to stay in shape. I did it during the off-season when I wasn't playing football, because I hate gyms, I hate stinky rooms, I hate the smell of jock straps.
Where did you first learn, or who did you train with, or was there anybody?
With Aaron Banks in New York. Mm-hmm. And I did it to stay in shape. I didn't really know that I was going to use it later on in my career, but I did it to stay in shape, and it's a great training. It's a great personality and character building when you can feel you can kick most people's butt. It's a great character builder.
Mm-hmm. Did
like
you
you?
look at? Yeah, I got a lot of character. Let's see. Look at what we got
this
here.
This is the Hammer. I did a boxing movie. I did an imitation of Muhammad Ali in this movie. I did a lot of fight scenes and.
How come you keep getting bigger and bigger? Physically, you're just...
I can do that. I can do
now,
that.
do you do weights, or do you do...
No, I'm a black jelly bean guy, man.
Jelly beans?
Yeah,
huh?
I'm a black jelly bean. I don't eat the white ones glue you up, see? I don't work out.
You don't work out? You
it just comes this way. Puffing on my cigar is what I do.
You just kind of...
He was my image. He was my idol. So I studied him, and when I did the boxing scene long before when they did the Muhammad Ali story here, I wanted to be a fighter, but I didn't want to get hit.
That's right. That's right. Well, Jim wanted to supposedly fight him, and then he...
Well, try to put this together, this big fight between me and Jim Brown fighting Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. I was going to fight the ugly guy, and Jim was going to fight...
Foreman, you're talking about?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you meant Jim Brown.
Jim was going to fight... No, that's my buddy. I ain't talking about my buddy.
I'm just kidding.
Jim was going to fight Muhammad Ali, but they didn't come off. I don't think the guys wanted to do it, and I don't think they wanted to risk being beaten by either one of us.
Well, the story I heard was that the two of them were in England, and Jim was doing the Dirty Dozen, and then Ali said, "You don't want to fight me," and he started doing some quick slaps and stuff, and there's Jim Brown, and there's Fred Williamson, two of the great football.
Well, we're good buddies. We're good buddies, man. I mean, we are dangerous friends. We might go to war at any time, and then laugh about it later on. I mean, it's that kind of personality, that challenge. We're very competitive to each other. If you're around us, you will see nothing but competition galore.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play one-on-one basketball and stuff too, or all that?
I mean, you can call it basketball. Jim had a rim up at his house, right?
Yeah.
And the problem was the backboard was attached to the garage. So if you drove to the basket, you were going to get slammed into the garage.
One way or the other.
We played basketball, and everybody played up there. I mean, we had Wilt up there with everybody up there, and there was some near fights and near misses up there, and it was quite exciting.
Fred, you're watching ActorsE, and we'll be right back. I'm your host, Steve Nave. We'll be right back with ActorsE and the great Fred the Hammer Williamson.
Over her long career, Nina Fosh appeared in classic films such as Spartacus, The Ten Commandments, and An American in Paris. She received an Academy Award nomination for her performance in Robert Wise's Executive Suite. In 1965, Nina Fosh arrived here at USC to begin teaching directing, and I was lucky enough to get into one of her first classes. Even as she continued acting in film and television, Nina's passion for teaching lasted for over 40 years. Her course was immensely popular because she developed her own unique style, drawing on her experiences studying with Lee Strasberg, Stella Adler, and Uta Hagen, and being directed by such icons as Vincent Minnelli, Stanley Kubrick, Cecil B. DeMille, and Otto Preminger. As I began directing, the tremendous value of her teachings became evident and how important it was to preserve them for future generations. We became close friends, and at a cinema department event, we ran into my former classmate, George Lucas, who invited us up to Skywalker Ranch, where we discussed creating a DVD of her course. He agreed to finance it, and on January 10th, 2002, we began taping an entire semester using a crew of USC film students. We filmed for 8 hours a week for 15 weeks, and this is the result.
Okay, so what are we going to do this semester?
We're back with ActorsE. Be sure to tune in to Actors channel and get all those great discounts. They've got discounts for acting classes, for books, for clothing, all kinds of stuff. Go to Actors Reporter. And speaking of great offers, I'm sitting with a great one right here, Fred Williamson. And Fred, before we cut away, we were talking about you and your buddy Jim Brown, how you guys are very competitive.
Oh yeah, we play golf. We play golf like.
Who's a better golfer?
I can't say I am, and I can't say he is. You know, we win some, we lose some. I mean, we're very competitive, man. I mean, it's death. We go at it really hard.
Do you play for money, or you just play for
we play
pride?
No, we play for money, and the pride is that when somebody loses, you know, the pride is wounded. But we go at it pretty good. Jim's a good golfer, and I think I'm a good golfer, and we have battles.
You guys played all sports because he was also with the field hockey, or
yeah,
he was like the greatest.
He's a good tennis player too.
Yeah.
At one time, he was a good tennis player, and then he made me take up tennis, and then we used to battle on the tennis, you know. And he plays chess, and he thinks he's a champion chess player. I mean, anything we do, man, if it's just eating an apple, who's going to eat it faster, you know? But it's a great friendship. It's a great relationship, and he's the kind of guy that I want behind me in a bar fight, right?
Well, exactly. I don't think too many people are going to give you guys any
No,
trouble in a bar.
But even that would be fun.
Is there any sport you've played that you haven't really mastered, or did you play baseball at all, or did you play?
I was afraid to play baseball. You might get hit by the ball, man. I couldn't handle that. You know, I see the guy. I guess I got hit by too many rocks when I was a kid. Because when I see the guy winding up and going through all those motions to throw the ball at me, I swear he's throwing it at me.
Yeah.
And if he did come that close to me, I'm going out there and talk to him.
Yeah.
You know, so I guess I was hit by too many rocks.
Well, I know how that goes. I got hit once without a helmet on, a guy on the Dodgers, but we won't go into that. Of all the things you do, and you do so many things, you've got your charities, which I want to get into the.
Right.
Why don't we talk a little bit about that right now? Actually, the Wounded Warriors
Project.
Yeah. That you we see you on TV, and you're these brave men and women.
Well, the Wounded Warrior Project is a great project. It deals with mainly PTS, post-traumatic stress.
Okay.
It's not an organization that funds for new arms and new legs and prosthetics. What they do is they deal with the mentality of the soldier to come home and have to readjust. And his greatest fear is being left alone. That's the greatest fear that these guys have when they come home. And then the impact on the families, because now a wife or a girlfriend now become caregivers, something that they never really considered that this relationship would come to. So all of a sudden they're caregivers, and they're taking care of their husband or their spouse or their boyfriend, doing things that they never thought they'd have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they also need counseling. So that's what Wounded Warrior Project.
Help them maintain. Yeah.
Right. So, and now the worst part, man, is like 8 warriors per month commit suicide.
Whoa.
8 a month.
Wow.
From post-traumatic stress.
Wow. Now, how did you get involved? Did they come to you? Or
they came to me because I have a untainted reputation, you know,
mm-hmm.
so I can stand up and go to battle for these guys,
mm-hmm.
and having been a former Marine myself, so, you know.
So you identify with them. I mean, there's a camaraderie because you. Tell us about the Marines a little bit. We'll go back to the Wounded.
Well, I joined the Marine Reserve when I was in high school because I didn't want to get drafted. Remember back in the day, they draft you right out of high school. It was automatic. So I joined the Reserve because I wanted to go to college. So I joined the Reserve so I wouldn't be drafted. And then when I went to college, I stayed in the Reserve. So therefore, I evaded the draft. But at the same time, I was, in the military service.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way I would go to war is that if there were a national emergency, but there never was. Between 55, they had just finished the Korean thing, and by the time I got out of college, there was no conflict at that time.
And started Vietnam yet? No.
Yeah, so I never got called. But I was in a position to be called because I was in the reserve. But it was a great experience, man. I mean, Semper Fi.
Was boot camp? I mean, you're a natural athlete. You can do everything. Was it tough to get through the training? Or?
Well, boot camp, man. When 1955 I was in boot camp. The greatest experience that was happening at that time was one sergeant marched a group of guys into the swamp, and they broke rank. The first 2 guys broke rank, and he shot them. He shot them.
Dead or wounded?
Dead, because they broke ranks, and that let you know right away what kind of boot camp you were him. You were Paris Island.
Whoa.
And he was a staff sergeant. They broke him down to private. That's the only thing that happened.
Wow.
Because the guys weren't supposed to break ranks. They started going through the water, and the water got deep, and the two guys broke ranks because they panicked, and he shot them.
Wow. You couldn't have wounded him or something. It's just wow. Wow, that's amazing.
But that's
Whole
Paris.
different-
That's Paris. That's not like Pendleton. It's not like Hollywood boot camp and Camp Pendleton.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, all these experiences, I mean, they must help you as an actor too. I mean, the Marines and college football, pro football, martial arts.
Well, they helped me, but it's strange that I really haven't done anything. I really haven't reached the right project that's really given me full satisfaction. What that project is, I don't really know. At this particular time, I'm involved in WW Kickstarter, trying to raise money for a film that I should have been an easy thing for me. I did a film called Original Gangsters several years ago.
Yeah.
With me, Jim Brown, Pam Grier,
Big
Richard
hit,
Roundtree.
yeah.
The film made about $30 million.
Uh-huh.
Orion filed bankruptcy. I got nothing.
Really?
So now,
That was a fun movie.
now I'm trying to put together some money to do a sequel to it, and I've been trying all this time to put it together. So now I'm on Kickstarter, so I'm asking my fans to,
Old School Gangsters.
come out and give us a little help, and so we can get this film off the ground, because the film should be made. It
So
should be
that's the
made.
name of the project, Old School.
Old School Gangsters, which is part 2 of Original Gangsters, yeah.
So it's going to be you,
Me, Jim Brown, Pam Grier, Richard Roundtree, Gloria Hendry, Robert Forster, Bernie Casey, Antonio Fargas.
Wow.
Oh,
A little white guy in the Forster, huh?
I gotta have somebody to kill.
And he did that Jackie Brown thing with
Pam Grier.
Pam Grier.
Exactly,
So, yeah.
exactly.
Oh man, I want to see that. So what do they do? Kickstarter. Explain to the audience.
Kickstarter is a new system now. You can go on the internet and you can donate money to the cause, and there's a certain amount of money that I'm trying to raise, and if we reach that limit, we can make the movie. And if we don't, then all the money goes back to the.
Is there a time limit? Isn't there a time limit?
It's until February 15th. We got until February 15th to raise the amount of money that I need. Yeah.
Will you be shooting it out here?
Shoot it in L.A. and Chicago.
Okay.
Chicago has a little more atmosphere than L.A. You can't see a movie in L.A. and haven't seen the streets already. Every street has been shot in L.A., and they seem to always shoot the same streets.
Right.
You know.
Do you like going on location, or do you like?
I love going on location. I love
Yeah.
traveling. Traveling is what I like to do. Like I said before, I made a lot of movies in Europe. I still do. I make a lot of films in Germany and Italy and Spain. I love traveling. I love going on the road. I love meeting new people. Yeah, that's what I like.
Recently, I say in no, it was a comedy, Starsky and Hutch. And,
Yeah,
that
but everybody was
a
funny but me. I wasn't funny. Ben
I was
Stiller
laughing at you the whole
no,
time.
you weren't. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. Ben Stiller was funny, and everybody was funny.
You were
in the
that
movie.
yelling cop. They always have that guy that's always like getting down on everybody.
Yeah, but I didn't yell.
Yeah.
See,
you
I was
don't
not
have
that.
to.
I was not that role that they give black actors with the screaming fat cop. You know, I said I'll take the role, but I'm not screaming. I'm not yelling. I'm gonna let the strength of my character do what you want me to do. And they said, okay, Hammer, you do what you want.
Now, how did you? Well, MASH was a comedy, and I mean, so when you're doing these comedies, you just maintain that image. That
Exactly.
Yeah.
I never step outside of my image, or I never step outside of my character. I mean, I was Spear Trucker Jones running over people, being my own boss, being a neurosurgeon, you know, having a very important position there, being Starsky and Hutch, police chief. I'm the man, okay? So I didn't do any funny stuff. I didn't tell any funny jokes, you know. All I did was be me.
Do you find you've been in the business so long? I don't want to make it sound like, you know, but you've been around a long time. Do you find that sets are different nowadays than they were when you first started?
No, but I think it's going to eventually come back to that, because I think we're getting tired of seeing all the special effects stuff, man. We're tired of seeing Angelina Jolie jump out of an airplane on top of a moving truck. You know, I mean, you need to be in a black audience watching that film, and you hear, "Come on, man!" You know, that's where that dialogue came from. NFL football, and those guys talk about these funny plays you see.
Yeah.
Black audiences, man, they talk to the screen. Come on, man!
I've been in
So-
those places, man. I don't know if I want to watch a movie in there, man. Look out behind the door.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now you mentioned NFL. Oh, okay. We got a chatter question, and we've been holding back because this you can't beat Fred. Okay, what is our chatter question?
We have a
Jeff
couple.
Pepper J.
We have one from Florida that asks, "What was your favorite role?" And we have one from Las Vegas that asks, "What role would you like to play, Fred?"
What was your favorite role, and what was the? You heard what she said.
My favorite role
What do you want to play?
is every role that I do, because as I said, I only do what I like. I have to win the fight to get the girl, and you don't kill me in a movie. So whenever you see me in the film, I'm doing exactly what I like, and I'm not doing it for money. So every role that I've played, I've enjoyed. And the second question,
What role would you like to play?
I play what same thing. It's the same thing. And my roles are action stars. And am I a good guy or a bad guy? And you have to make that decision. Clint Eastwood's movies. Was Clint a good guy or a bad guy? Was he a good cop or a bad cop? He killed a bad guy, but did that make him a bad guy? Because he said, okay, I'm going to count to 3. No, forget it. I'm going to shoot you on 1. Bam. Does that make him a good guy or a bad guy?
What do we got there? What's up there? Okay, there you are again.
That's Help in Harlem. It's a sequel to Black Caesar. So the first one, we did Black Caesar. I went down in the parking lot. The gang beat me up and left me laying in the parking lot. My fans didn't like that, so we had to come back with a sequel.
Starsky and Hutch.
And my posse picked me up out of the yard and take me back to do my job again. But that was Starsky and Hutch, and that was a good film. That's the Hammer. Posing.
Look at that, yeah. Too bad you don't have a physique of any kind.
Too bad I haven't changed. That's what you're trying to say.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes,
you look exactly the same.
I keep telling you, it's black jelly beans, dude.
Man, I think you've got some kind of a painting up in your attic or something that's just
I'll never tell.
Changing. Look at that.
But it's all fun. All this stuff is exciting stuff. It's fun. It's been fun being me. It's fun now being me.
I bet it is. Now, we were talking about your NFL days. You were also with 2 other legends, Howard Cosell and Frank Gifford on Monday Night Football on ABC.
I took Don Mara's place. They forgot to tell Howard that I was as controversial as he was, so he stopped talking to me. We wouldn't talk. He wouldn't talk to me on when I'd say, Howard, how do you know what you're talking about? You never played this game. You don't know what you're talking about. Then I said, that hole was big enough for you, even an old guy like you, to get 5 yards through. So he stopped talking to me. So at the end of the season, I took his toupee and played with it. And Rooney calls me up and he says, well, your career on Monday Night Football is over. And I said, obviously, I don't give a damn.
That's right. Yeah. So there they are.
That's the group.
Yeah. Wait, you're not in there though. That's Dandy Don and Howard Cosell and Frank Gifford. Where's Fred? Don't we have Fred in there?
No, it ain't happening.
No.
They don't even want to admit the fact that I was there.
Now, did Jim Brown? Because Jim did the CBS football for a long time.
I don't know if he did. Did he do a long time? I think he was short.
He was pretty good. He was up there.
Well, he didn't have Howard Cosell.
He was doing it with Vince Scully,
He didn't have Howard Cosell to do
That's true. Yeah.
Howard just did not want me there.
Now, you've got a bunch of projects coming up. Can you tell us?
I just finished 3 films. I did one in Germany called Atomic Eden. I did one in Montreal called Billy Trigger. And I did one in Phoenix called 357. So these are coming out soon.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about them?
No.
Is it Fred being Fred? And
no, it's just I don't want you to anticipate something until we're ready for you to anticipate it.
Bring it out.
I don't want that energy to subside. I want it to be ready, and I want it to build on it.
I'm just thankful though. We did a little film called Last Ounce of Courage that was very well received, and I started to talk about it earlier, and then we got cut off for a commercial. But Fred plays a lawyer in that, and I had to talk him in. He says, "Man, that's not my image." And he was very, very good. If you've seen Last Ounce of Courage, you know what I'm talking about.
But I played a tough lawyer. I played
Yes.
a guy who had his own energy, had his own faith, had his own spirit.
Last Ounce of Courage. Yeah.
I didn't really succumb to any comedy. It wasn't anything funny about what I did. Comedy is what I'm against. You can't be a comic and then go be a tough guy too. It doesn't work. The audience will be disappointed if you do something that they don't expect you to do. I mean, like, I won't even talk about him.
You won't?
You can't do comedy. Burt Reynolds tried it. Remember Bert came into the business as a tough guy.
Yeah.
Then he went cannonball, did funny stuff.
Yeah.
Then he tried to come back and do a tough guy. Didn't work.
Well, Clint Eastwood kind of.
Yeah, but Clint Eastwood had control of his own destiny, because after he did the funny thing and it didn't work, he came back and did a Dirty Harry and killed 20 people in the credits, the opening credits, you know? Apologizing for that terrible thing that he had just done.
Yeah, but he made a fortune on those.
Yeah, but he wasn't happy about it. But he came back
Yeah.
and did Dirty. Every time he did a funny, he did like 2 of them. He did that orangutan thing.
Yeah.
And he came back.
Every Which Way But Loose.
He came back and he killed 20 people in the next Dirty Harry right in the open credits.
That's right. That's right.
So he had the ability to make that transition because he was in control.
Did you ever study acting, or did you just?
Football is acting, man. I mean, exhibition season is the greatest acting performance you could ever do. You're grunting, you're snorting, and you pretend like you're doing it. Pro Bowl now, that's the greatest acting experience. You see the Pro Bowl, 55 to 62. I mean, it's like a basketball game.
Yeah.
Those guys are acting. It's all acting out there. So, hey.
Now, you were a 3-time Pro Bowler. Was that what was that experience like?
Well, I never really liked to be judged. I mean, because what happens is the guy that's judging you is the guy that you're hitting on. The pass receivers have to vote on everybody but pass receivers. So how's the guy going to vote me that I've been beating up for the whole season, been knocking him out, knocking him down? He's going to say I'm the best? No, he hates me. I'm the last guy he's going to put down there, man. So it's a popularity contest. It's not always about ability. It's about popularity contest.
Who were the challenges, wide receivers and stuff? Because you were a defensive back.
Any guy who had a different jersey on me was a challenge to me. And I went after him whether he was catching the ball, whether he was throwing the ball to him or not. I was beating up on him all the way down the field.
And if they were coming across the field, they had a whole different experience.
They
than
never
do
made
now.
it.
That's right.
They never made it. Crossing over, that was my favorite. You never made it. The hook got you, dude. You wasn't going across the
And
field.
if you did get lucky enough to get the ball, then you were.
You got to see some of the tackles that I make, pictures of me. My eyes are big as silver dollars, man. When I'm about to make that hit, my eyes get yay big. I didn't even know that till I saw the pictures.
Well, you were a track star. Where did that intensity for football come from? Just when being on a field and the other guys hitting you, or
No, it came from being black.
You're black? I didn't realize that.
Colored.
Excuse
Yeah.
me, Steve.
Yes.
Yes, we have a chatter question.
from
Yes,
Pepper
we
J.
do.
And what part of the country?
Yes, I'm not sure where they're from, but they said now that you're producing and directing everything, can you give us any audition hints for the actors, Fred?
Good question.
We have the main man right here who is into audition. Auditions is, when you go into an audition, just be sure that the character that you want to play, you understand him, and that's who you want to be. You can't pretend to be a character in an audition if you don't believe in that character and you don't want to be him and you're just doing it for the job and to make a few bucks. Guys like myself and guys like Steve here can see right through that. If you really are intense and really care about what you're doing and care about the character that you're trying to portray, it'll come through.
When you're directing a film, do you have meetings with the actors? Do you try to motivate them, or do you expect them just to come and know what the heck they're doing? And
Well, when you interview people and you casting people, when they walk in the door, you know right away, number one, the attitude fits the role. Now it's up to them to enhance that or destroy it by talking. So if you talk and what comes out of your mouth does not fit the image that we're looking for, you're not going to get the part. But if what we see and what we hear are connected, then it's easy to direct that person because now they have the feeling and the idea of what you're trying to capture on film. Then all you have to do is kind of mold them a little bit. It makes it easier that way.
have you ever been in the middle of a film directing and or acting and found like the film was going in a different direction than what you planned, and if so, how did you deal with that?
Well, that's because we're in a creative business, and you have to be open to creativity. And if you allow the actor to bring something to the table that what you hired him for, then you have to go with it, because then it only enhances the project. You don't tell them, don't do this, you can't do that. That doesn't work for the actor, and it'll show in his performance. So if he's bringing something, like me bringing something to From Dusk Till Dawn.
One Man's Vengeance. Yes, Dusk Till Dawn.
When I
Quentin
did,
Tarantino film, yes.
when I said to Robert Rodriguez, I'm a martial artist, so let me do some martial arts. And he says, what do you want to do? I said, this guy, big, mean guy is coming toward me, and I said, whatever you got to say to him, say to me first. So he comes to me, and I take his heart out. But the heart keeps beating in my hand. And so one of the actors had to stab it with a pencil. I think it was Harvey Keitel, stabbed it with a pencil. That's me bringing something that enhanced the role, it enhanced the film. And when you hire your actors, that's what you hire them for, to bring something creative to it, not just go by the book. I mean, you can change the words, but if you bring something creative, it can only help.
So you like actors to come to you and say, hey, what if we did this or that, or I was thinking about this? Or...
You can't lock an actor in. You can't freeze an actor and framework them, because that's not why you hire them. You hire them because they have something that you see in them that's good for your film, and you expect to see that, and you want to see that coming from the actor.
Mm-hmm. There's Black
This is
Caesar,
Black
and
Caesar.
there's...
That was Take a Hard Ride.
Take a Hard Ride. Jim Kelly recently passed.
Jim Kelly passed. Yeah, he was a good guy. He was in our film Take a Hard Ride.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't ride a horse, so
Well, that's why he ran all the time.
we made him a fighting Indian.
Yeah, he was an Indian
Yes.
and running off.
We made him a
You
fighting
and Jim
Indian.
were you guys horsemen before you were doing the westerns?
Never asking an actor what he can do and can't do, because
He
there's
can do
nothing.
it.
There's nothing we can't do.
That's right.
Can you ride? Yeah, I can ride. We had never even seen a horse.
Well, you look like you knew what you were doing, if I remember right.
As soon as we got the part, we ran went and got some riding lessons and went
Yeah.
over to the stables and rode like crazy every day.
And you guys were challenging each other with that too, right?
Well, I could ride under the horse, and then he'd try to hold onto the tail and ride under the horse. I mean, we did things that way.
Do you ever get hurt in a film?
Yeah, but I'll never tell.
There's Pam Grier.
Gorgeous Pam Grier.
That's right.
There's Anderson. That was
Richard
Black Eye.
Anderson, yeah.
Black Eye.
Okay. Oh, we're on the
On
horse
the
there.
horse. Black Caesar.
Get back
again.
to the horse. Let's see the horse. Look at this guy.
That's
Ooh,
my
look at that
boxing.
guy.
That's the Hammer.
And
That's,
you don't work out. You just,
no, that's
you
the Hammer.
just look good.
That's
huh?
the movie, The Hammer. These are all Black Caesar.
Now, show business is film, acting, show, and business. Tell us the difference. I mean, you're a businessman. How much of the show business is business and how much is art? And
Well, business is understanding how things are made and then what to do with it after you make it.
mm-hmm.
Most actors don't want that much work. They want to come in, say what they have to say, get their paycheck, and go home.
That's right.
But if you want to create your image and save your image and create some longevity in the business, you have to learn the business of the business. Whether you're selling popcorn or peanuts or whatever it is, if you must learn the business of the business. And that's what I've done, is learn about directing, learning about producing, learning about distribution.
Mm-hmm.
Distribution is really the key to being success and maintaining your longevity.
And you do the film I remember you were doing Cannes way back. Do you still do that?
I do
Yeah.
Cannes. I used to do Cannes, and I do the American Film Market here.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. I mean, it's a people business.
Right.
It's a people business, and so you have to meet the people who buy your films, and it's nice if you know them by the first name.
And people are excited to meet you, so they're
Always.
ready to.
Exactly.
I've seen you at the AFM, and you got like a circle of people just surrounding you, like
Because these are all the,
buzzards.
because I've been doing it for so long
Yeah.
that when I used to do it to Cannes, the kids were like 5 and 6 years old. So now the kids are running the business. So
Yeah.
I create a friendship. When they come here, I know them from when they're 5 years old.
Okay, the websites, we have Fred's website, and we want to thank all our chatters that have been asking us questions. I know we had a lot of them, but Fred is so interesting, it's hard to get them all in. But we want to thank all the chatters, and we're here Monday through Friday in Hollywood, California on ActorsE Chat, and we'd like to thank over 5 million viewers that watch our show. And we would appreciate and want to tell you all about today's show. Go to ActorsEntertainment.com and put the talent's name, Fred Williamson, Fred the Hammer Williamson.
Thank you.
He's going to hammer your head. And Steve Nave. Also visit Actors Entertainment on IMDb. That's the Internet Movie Database, to see some of the 1,000 entertainment industry guests on Actors E. Please follow Actors Entertainment on Twitter and Actors Entertain. And join us on Facebook at Actors Entertain fan page. And be sure to like us. Like us, just like Sally Field. You really like us. Please stay tuned for Actors Reporter Animation, which won the Telly Awards. See this right here, Fred? And I want to thank the great Pepper J and her production company, and Now Media. I want to thank Fred Williamson, who's been one of the greatest guests we've ever had. I'm humbled by his presence with us, and I want to thank everyone out there, wherever you are on the planet. Thank you very much, and thanks again, Fred Williamson, my idol right here, the Hammer. Okay.
What's that? ActorsE Chat show? Happens to be my favorite. In the morning, I want nothing but a cup of coffee, a bottle of Kahlua, 6 naked girls. Wait, no, that's not right. ActorsE Chat show.
Oh my gosh. Hey, big Hollywood starlet that just happens to be walking by. Yes. I'm not from around here, but I want to be an actress just like you. What do I need to know? Kid, let me tell you. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a naive newbie like you, there's one thing you need to know. To get my first job, I lived in a slum, beat out 50 other girls to play a drunk bum.
I cried.
My first agent charged me 30%.
Thanks.
Working 3 jobs and I couldn't pay rent, but I'm an actor.
She's an actor.
A shark gnawed my leg on a beef film in Sydney. To pay for the stitches, I sold my left kidney. I finally made a union, their rules were complex. Their piles of paperwork fogged up my specs. But I'm an actor.
She's an actor.
I'm an actor. Well, that's rather disturbing, but what's the one thing I need to know? Don't listen to the critics. Don't follow all the tabs. Forget that sleazy photog and the agent that's got crabs. Go to Actors Reporter. ActorsReporter.com. Learn the tricks and the secrets without all the sweat. An info-packed one-stop shop. It's free and on the net. Actors Reporter. ActorsReporter.com.
How can they help her?
Career cues, union news, makeup woes, advice from pros, insurance tips, choosing scripts, everything at your fingertips. Actors Reporter. ActorsReporter.com.
I just got a call back.
I'll do it.
Oh, hello. I'm Mary Jo Gruber. Thanks for joining us on ActorsE Live Chat Show. I'm just one of your ActorsE hosts, but as you can see, I'm also the ActorsE Live video editor, which means that I'm here, even when you don't see me. ActorsE is here to chat with you Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or Hollywood time, as I like to call it. Our guests include actors, directors, producers, writers, singers, comics, and others that are all in the entertainment industry. You can see previous shows at www.actorsentertainment.com, and be sure to check out our guest index to find your favorite celebrities. See you next time. I'm working.